The following story has been brought to you by StoriesToInspire.org.
There was a young man who lived in a moshav, not far from Bnei Brak. He didn't have a car, and there was only one store in the moshav. It sold the basic fruits and vegetables, maybe a little bit more, a little bit extra, a little nash. And that's it. And if you needed other things, you had to make a trip to Bnei Brak. So, they had lists, and they were very organized, and about once a month, they would go to Bnei Brak, and they would make a big shopping. They have to go around to many different stores to get all the things they needed. Then they'd have to get onto a bus, and take it back, and change buses, everything up the bus, down the bus, onto the next bus, and back off in the moshav, and then schlep it to their house. It was a big asik. But this is how they lived. They couldn't afford to live in Bnei Brak, and they wanted good kids, and here was a moshav that had Torah-dika people with a Murdika koil. And this is what he learned. He learned the whole day in the koil, and then once in 4 weeks. But sometimes it didn't work out 4 weeks. They have to go after 2 weeks. Sometimes even once a week they would have to go. And this is the life that they lived. One day, he wakes up in the morning, he washes Negavasa, he gets ready to go to Koilel. He's learning a little bit before davening. Before he leaves the house, he goes to the bathroom. He comes out, he washes his hands. As soon as he turned the faucet, all of a sudden the faucet flew off, and water started shooting out. He ran to the laundry room, and he shut off the main of the water in the whole house. He came back to the kitchen to evaluate it, and he saw that there's a cracked haka by the faucet. The handle of the faucet is cracked. All he needs is a new handle. Baruch Hashem. So he went under the sink and he shut off just the cold water for the milchige side that was leaking. And he turned back on the water in the house. And Baruch Hashem, his family will have a normal day. And he made a cheshbon, and he's going to go, if the second Seder is over at 7 o'clock, he's going to take a bus to Bnei Brak and go get a faucet, because there's no faucets in Lakewood, in their moshav. However, he doesn't know when the hardware store closes. So he asks a few people, they told him, no, it closes 8:30. Okay, takes a half hour to get there regular. By bus, it could take 50 minutes, an hour. He'll still get there in time. Shine. He's going to second Seder, and as he's walking into second Seder, he's schmoozing with another young man, and the other man says that he has a meeting with a lawyer in Bnei Brak. He's going right after second Seder to Bnei Brak. He says, how are you going? He says, I have a car. He says, oh, I also have to go to Bnei Brak. My faucet broke. I need a handle for my faucet. Can I come with you? So the guy says, Avada, of course, my pleasure. Who wants to go alone? No problem. He says, but I'm telling you, I'm going to be at least an hour and a half in Bnei Brak. I have a couple of meetings, and it's going to take some time. He says, it's not a problem. I'll get the faucet, I'll go into the smedrash, I'll learn, and whenever you're ready, you pick me up, we'll come back. Okay. It comes 7 o'clock, and the guy taps him on the shoulder, I gotta go. He says, no problem, I'm coming. He unfortunately has to close his Gemara, He goes to get his hat and jacket to go with him in the car, and as he goes out, he chaps. He never davened mincha today. He was so busy with the faucet, he never got a chance to daven mincha. So he has two choices. The next minyan is 7:30. Or, maybe he could daven now and be chidus, and the guy's gonna wait for him, maybe he'll wait 5 minutes for him to daven Shemona Esrei. So, the guy comes over to him, you coming? He says, I just realized I didn't daven mincha. He says, so daven, I'll wait for you 5 minutes. He says, no, I gotta daven with a minyan. I need atzlacha in life. I need a minyan. He says, but I'm not waiting for you. He says, Gesundheit, I'll take the bus. Shine. The next minyan started at 7:30. By the time he finished, it was 10 to 8. It was 10 to 8, and he says, you know something? It's 20 minutes to Bnei Brak. Let me go to the entrance of the moshav. I'll see. If I get a hitch in the next 10 minutes to Bnei Brak, I'll go. And if not, I'll go tomorrow. He goes to the entrance to Bnei Brak, of the Moshav, and he's waiting there, and he's looking for a ride. There's nobody coming, no one going. He's mamish ready to give up, and all of a sudden a taxi comes out of the Moshav. He looks into the taxi, he waves to the guy, and the guy rolls down the window, and he says, "Where are you going?" He says, "No, I'm going to Bnei Brak, but I don't have money, I cannot afford a taxi." He says, come inside. He says, I don't have any money. He says, "I'm not charging you, this is the chesed of the day." He says, "You sure?" "Yeah, I'm going to Bnei Brak, I'll take you gladly." He opens the door and he gets into the car and he sees the guy's not even wearing a yarmulke. Okay? And he asks him, Why are you doing such a chesed for me? You don't look religious." He says, "No, I'll tell you the truth. I just got a phone call from somebody in Bnei Brak that he was in a car accident and he needs to come back to the Moshav. So I figured if I'm going there anyways, what's the big deal? You're not paying anyways, so I might as well take you." So they're going and they come to Bnei Brak. As they get to the entrance of Bnei Brak, they see a traffic jam. He says, "Yeah, this is probably the accident. I heard that it's blocking 2 of the 3 lanes. They're waiting for a tow truck." He comes there, he sees the car is shmetted. The whole right side of the car was smashed in. Somebody tried to cut off the guy and get into the lane in front of him and just plowed into the car. And the whole right side of the car is a latka. The guy who's driving just came out alive. Push it. He sees the guy and he sees it's his friend from the kollel. He says, "It's you?" He says, "Yeah, it wasn't my fault. But this is what happened. I was about to get into Bnei Brak and this guy came in from the right side and he smashed my car." He says, "I barely made it out alive." And then shivers run down his spine. And the guy tells him, "Yeah, it's a good thing you didn't come with me or you wouldn't be going to Bnei Brak. You'd be buried in Bnei Brak." And why? It's all from the Mesiras Nefesh. That the guy says, I have a good reason. I'm an oinus. I could daven be yechidus. That's no problem. I have to take care of my family with the faucet. I can't live like this. We have to fix the house. He would have a good reason. He'd come to Shemayim and he said, "The reason I didn't daven be tzibur today is because I had an emergency and I had to take care of it, my family. I didn't want to take off from learning." And fine, no problem. They wouldn't smack him. They wouldn't get patch. But he got much more than that. He gave up his convenience. He didn't know he was going to get a ride to Bnei Brak. He thought he's going to have to take a bus. And a bus wouldn't help him. He would get there too late. He got a ride. But he saved his life.
Enjoyed this story? Come again. Bring a friend. StoriesToInspire.org